What's going on YouTube? It's your boy Denali, aka Don Squally, back at you with another one. Don't mind these mosquitoes and stuff. We're just in the middle of you know, mosquito season, or I don't know, gnats or whatever the hell you call them. Anyways, that's not the topic of this video. Basically, I've been getting a little bit of squeaking noise coming from my brakes recently. I think it's time to change the pads. Rotors look good, the back looks good. So I think basically what I'm gonna do is just change the front pads because they're getting a little bit low. Have on their ceramic pads right now, cross-drilled slotted rotors. If you guys can't see them, you'll see them in a second. So I decided to go with the OE spec by Wagner. Not sure if these are ceramic or... Yeah, it doesn't say what they're made out of. However, you know, I wanted to, there was the cheapest, the highest, and then the middle. So I got the middle. So basically I'm going to show you guys the process, give you some pointers, so hopefully it can help you guys out in the future. So first thing we want to do is jack the car up and take your tires off, and we'll be back to you in a second. Okay, so now that you got your wheel off, make sure you got jack stands under there because you don't want this car falling down while you're working on it, especially if you're going to be putting your legs or anything underneath it. Second, you want to make sure that you take off the top to your brake fluid, just so when you're decompressing the piston, you don't have you don't have too much pressure in there. And then what you want to do is just get a screwdriver slightly between the pad and the rotor in there, and just kind of pry it apart so that it's easier for you to take the caliper off. Okay, and then after that you got two 14 mil bolts, one on the top, one on the bottom, and then once you get those off, this whole assembly should slide right out, and I'll show you how to access our pads. Alrighty, now that we got our brakes off, we can see it's actually quite a bit of meat on these pads. I'm not quite sure if it's the dust shield that was rubbing on here or what. One thing I did notice is these sliders here seem to be seized up, so that's gonna need to be replaced soon. Lots of meat on the pads, so that would be your wear bar right there. I guess while I'm here, I'll just replace them anyways, and if the problem persists, the noise, I guess I'll have to change these this mounting bracket here. See if I can find one used. Anywho, we're just gonna put on our pads and show you guys the next step. Alrighty, now before we take out our pads, I want to show you how to decompress your piston here. As you can see, this will be sticking out more than you'll be able to fit your new pads in there. So just get a clamp. Basically, oh, am I gonna make it? Just barely. You want to maneuver it so that you can just twist and get my arm out of the way. See how the piston's going in? Just like that. You want to go all the way in. Like I say, taking your cap off of your brake fluid reservoir. This is the process it's gonna make it easier. Now these pads, I don't know, I guess if they're making noise, it was time to switch them. I know ceramic pads can sometimes get a bit noisy, so we'll see how these OEM pads do. Alrighty, I'm going to switch the camera angle and get back to you guys. Alrighty, so basically what you want to do is just identify which pad goes where. I already did this portion, so I wasn't recording, unfortunately. But as you'll see, this pad comes from the outside. Obviously, the other one's going to come from the inside, and you just want to see the pattern where the connection points are, where your friction points are going to be here, here, and here. And just get a little bit of brake lubricant. Smear that on there. Anywhere there's going to be metal on metal contact. And As you can see on the other side, it's just a circle, so you're going to want to put it, well, like I said, I already did this, so just the circle there. That way that's where your connection points are going to be, and we'll show you how to install. Now that you got your pad all greased up, whatever you do, don't put it on here because well, that's the side you need for stopping. So what you're going to do is put your bottom end in first, and then you'll see there's a little tab here. You got to fold in and get it inside of this hole. This is a bit of a tricky part, but once you get it in, as you can see, it's good, just like that. There's a little bit of spring in it, but once you get your other, once you get your caliper on, it'll be sound. So do the same with the other side. Just make sure that tab goes in there. Oh, bottom first. Make sure you get your tab in there. And you're good. They may try to spring back on you, but that's what you're going to be left with. And now, normally what you'd have to do is take these little sliders out and lube up in there. I'm actually quite surprised that my brakes work as well as they do with these being seized up. But if you see this seized, it's time to change this little mounting bracket. It has little, if you can get the sliders out, you'll be lucky, but I doubt you will, so you'd just be better off replacing that part. So once that's on, we're gonna just take our caliper, roll it over, and slide it over top of our new pads, just like that. And now we're gonna put in our new bolts. We're gonna put in our existing bolts into the holes, thread it in lightly on either side until they're snug, and then tighten them both up. Make sure you're double checking your work here. Everything looks sound, and tighten it up. Alrighty, once you're done, tightened up, you're going to want to do the other side the exact same way. Once that's finished, throw your brake cap on, or your brake fluid cap, and then you're going to want to pump the brakes until they get nice and stiff, and yeah, should be good to go. I guess we'll take it for a little drive in a second. Okay, so here we are on the driver's side, and just to give you guys an example, that's what this pin is supposed to do. Just a slider to allow your a little bit of play. And what you want to do is normally take that out, grease it up, and stick it back in there. This bottom one is sort of seized, so yeah, it's about time to change these mounting brackets. If not, I don't think you can heat it. This rubber will probably melt. So yeah, that's what you do on, well, if your slider pins are actually functional, you just grease that up and it goes. Now that you got your brakes installed, you just want to make sure you put your cap back on to your fluid reservoir, and then you're just going to start pumping the brakes until they stiffen up nice and tight. You want to do this before you drive so that you're at your braking point. And that should be it. Alrighty, so I just got back from our little test drive. As it turns out, those bolts that were seized, for whatever reason, they weren't causing the brakes to stick earlier, but when I put the new pads on, the pads were sticking to the rotors, causing a burning and kind of a swooshing sound as I was driving, like a so I had to take the passenger side off. What I did was I got some WD-40 and I sprayed it inside the seal, used some vice grips, clamped onto them, and freed them up and got them out, lubed them up like I showed you on the other side. Just took it for a test drive. We got no more sound, no more burning, which is what we want. They stopped good, and I'm happy. So that's why I'm making this video. Small things like this that go wrong, where I trial saves you from the error, you know what I mean? If that makes sense. So as usual, if you guys like this video, don't forget to thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, subscribe. I got lots of car videos, install videos, all kinds of fun stuff. What I say, like, subscribe, comment. Did I say comment or like? And if you have a comment or a question, feel free to throw it down. Always down to answer your questions. And that's about it, man. It's your boy Don Squally. Till the next one.